Hello, hello, and welcome to another ohmTown Daily News Show. This is for December 12th. Sorry, this is for December 30th, 2022. I'm in a time machine. Today's show is titled Toilet Paper, House Salaries, and an Airplane Boomerang. Oh my. Let's get into today's shoe. Hello, hello. I am Merwat, that is ohmTown.com, and off in the ether is the artificial intelligence that has yet to be named that controls ohmTown. You want to say hello?
Hello, ohmTown citizens.
Well, hey, so today is Friday, December 30th, 2022. I cannot believe how fast time has been flying. I'm going to check something real quick while... Yeah, that doesn't... We're good. So, the news today has been kind of spotty at best. Let me check something real quick. Sorry for the dead air. Starting out, we're trying to get things all working 100% again. At any rate, we'll go with it. Right? I mean, everything... You can hear me okay. Everything is looking good, sounding good. So let's just get into today's news. Sorry for the kind of quirky start. I never edit this, so you're going to see how the sausage is made. And if there's some weird glitch, then it is what it is. All right. So the very first article for today is in the Smack Talk channel, and it's the Apple in 2023 AR, VR, and HomePod, Mac Pro, AirPods Max. So a couple of things, right? There's been a lot of talk about Apple in 2023 and Apple in 2022. You know, what really is going on is people just talk about Apple. They're the biggest dog on the block. And they're a vertical, right? So when you look at something like Google or all of the manufacturers of phones, tablets, etc., you look at Microsoft, it has a whole bunch of stuff, but it's third parties facilitating it. Apple is a vertical. It goes basically from Apple's brain and manufacturing processes out to its consumers. It is a one-stop shop. It makes all of its own computers. It makes all of its own equipment. It does everything in a vertical. So I don't like even comparing it against other places. So AR, VR, HomePod, Mac Pro, AirPods Max are all done by just them, from operating system to component level. They acquire it, sure, and it's manufactured in China, but it's developed, the ideation and its creation is done here in the States. But there is no competition directly with Apple because there are no other Apple producers of its products. Back in the, back before the dot-com bust, there were people who were manufacturing Apple, one manufacturer of a third-party Mac, and it imploded. It didn't work out well. But when these new products come off of an Apple assembly line and go out to consumers in 2023, they're going to be astronomically expensive. So it says, as exciting as 2022 was for new Apple products, 2023 may put it to shame with completely new and refreshed products. Here's what the rumor mill is expecting in the year to come. So I've already selected all 10 of the articles for today. This one's over at appleinsider.com by Tyler Hayes. And obviously it has a render. This one here in the center is a render of what the Apple AR VR idea might be. I hope that it doesn't look like a pair of swim goggles with a blackout lens, because you're cool when you're diving with shades on. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I hope the HomePod Mega returns, the grand pappy of HomePods. The HomePod Mini is anemic at best. And for me, it's dumber than sin. I'm very glad that the artificial intelligence that runs everything in ohmTown, well, isn't a HomePod Mini.
The dumbest smart speaker.
Yes, indeed. So, and it had amazing sound. When I heard that it was discontinued, I sold 3 of them in rapid succession, and I regret every moment of it, particularly if the rumor mill is true that it's coming back. Those AR VR glasses, by the way, you want to take a guess using your large language model? How much is it going to cost?
Probably $1,000.
The rumors say $3,000. $3,000 for VR.
Kind of pricing a lot of people out.
Like anybody with a wallet. Don't worry, Elon Musk will be the first to purchase a Apple Pro. No, never mind. We'll get into that later. Just like every other year, Apple's 2023 will bring new mainstream Mac, a new Apple Watch, likely a refresh of the last one of the iPad models. And as interesting and evolving as these new models could be, they'll still be familiar in most ways. You know what one thing will happen? You want to take a guess? No?
No.
Every time they release a model of anything, something shifts 3 millimeters and causes you to have to go out and buy a new case.
No, a new charger.
And now maybe new chargers, because USB-C will be dominating everything. So they talk about the AR VR headset. Again, this looks like it's a dive mask with a tinted lens, because when you're Apple cool, sun is shining on you even underwater. The Mac Pro, a massive chunk of aluminum, and I mean, it's as beautiful as it is. I'm not spending $5,000 on a entry level device. And by entry level, I mean it's an Apple product, and it is superior, at least in my perception, to many PCs of what others might perceive as being extremely capable. But when you use an M1 or an M2 and you move up the scale of how they combine them, so the M1 Ultra is just this massive juggernaut of a CPU. It's well worth the money, but every time I see this $5,000 price, I flinch. So there's going to be a new HomePod, and like I said, the HomePod was discontinued. And they say it's been 2 years since the Apple original HomePod was discontinued. I feel like it's been longer than that, because I don't remember selling them during the pandemic.
It's been pandemic time. It's been distorted.
And so it says March 2023 will be 2 years. Okay. I don't know how that works, but if they come back, I'm going to be swapping out iPad or iPod minis like nobody's business, because like I said, they are just horribly tiny little things. New AirPods Max, those are great headphones, but for me they are overpriced. But again, you get the quality of the Apple product. I feel weird about spending that amount of money, $500 and whatnot. So March 2021 is when Apple discontinued the original HomePod. Thank you, AI that controls ohmTown. By the way, this article, just so it's a reminder, it's by Tyler Hayes. I said it at the beginning of this, over at Apple Insider. But we're going to go on to the next article. Let's go. I spent 10 minutes on that last article. I hope y'all liked it. The next article is over in the Mobile channel. CNN's new boss asks anchors not to drink during New Year's Eve special. I might have been drinking before the show. CNN's head, Chris Licht, has asked the network's anchors for its New Year's Eve special not to consume alcohol while on the air. And that's from the Washington Post. So this is actually coming from The Hill. And we'll just go over to The Hill. Jared Gans is the reporter or the author of this article for thehill.com. And yeah, so what ended up happening in previous shows is people have been just throwing them back until they are so thrown back that they're swinging from the chandelier. And the Post reported that a network source said Licht, I think that's how they pronounce his name, asked Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper, who will host coverage in New York, and Don Lemon, who will take over in New Orleans, not to drink, which will make a market change for previous years. There were people that were just hammered. Lemon appeared to be intoxicated while getting his ear pierced on television during New Year's in 2017, while Cooper said it's like burning your lungs while taking a shot of tequila in 2019. I don't think we've had a real New Year's for 2 years, right? Cohen joked during an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert earlier this month that his rant about de Blasio might be why hosts are not allowed to drink this year.
Well, especially if they're hosting it in that same city.
I think just a warning to anybody who might be drinking. It's never the first shot of tequila. It's the 8 that go in after it. So drink in moderation. Everything in moderation is okay. Even if you're a host. Know what your limit is. Read the room. And if you're running around Times Square in nothing but a gold thong, it might be me, but it might be a host for New Year's Eve special. I don't know if that's going to be MSNBC where I'm going to be hosting. I'm not sure. But I'll be drunk and pretending to be a host on somebody's channel somewhere. I'll move on. Hey, guess what?
What?
I'm going to tell a knock-knock joke. Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Pay raise.
Pay raise who?
I'm the pay raise nobody else got since 2021. But guess who did?
The House.
The House. Hey, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, says on Friday that the House would once again raise its staff salary cap, bringing the maximum salary up to $212,100. Quote, as you know, our hardworking, patriotic congressional staffers are integral to the functioning of the House of Representatives, ensuring this institution can effectively carry out our legislative and constituent responsibilities, Pelosi said in a Dear Colleague letter. Why is it that every time I hear, well, you have to pay more to get quality people, there are tremendously qualified people that are chomping at the bit to become those qualified people earning upwards of $212,000, but they don't get the opportunity to because, well, equity, inclusion, etc., isn't just offered to everybody. You have to have a political contact to even make it possible to get into the channel. So it says, to that end, we must do all we can to retain and recruit the best talent in our nation. Yes, because the best talent is only available when you pay more. It isn't because people sacrifice as civil servants or sacrifice as political anything. You have to pay them more, ever increasing. Unfortunately, it isn't scaling at the same level as other people. So where did they go from? They went from $199,300. So let's just round up 200,000. And they've got they they got a $12,000 raise. And now I understand that this is the upper level, right? This is the maximum. But to require your taxpayers to pay a higher level, somebody must be demanding that higher level. Well, somebody's going to be getting a $12,000 raise.
Well, and with inflation, they might actually be getting a pay cut. But anyway.
Well, everybody else is, because nobody else is getting a $12,000 raise. You tell me somewhere in government that somebody's getting a $12,000 raise, I'll be surprised. Now, it's probably in a medical field because they can demand it, because if you don't get somebody that demands that level of increase, then people die. But a house staffer, we're all going to get pay cuts no matter where we are, because the cost of living is going up, the food is going up, the producer price index is going up, the consumer price index is going up. Everything is going up except for salaries to the middle class and pretty much everybody else. This article, by the way, is over at thehill.com by Julia Shapiro. I'm not sure how they pronounce their last name. But I always love that phrase, to that end, we must do all we can to retain and recruit the best talent in our nation, which, again, only comes when you pay them more, and not necessarily that they're dedicated to the cause. Meanwhile, with insider information of policy and procedure and future actions, the Stock Act is being neutered again and again, and politicians are trading on the information that they have, including Pelosi.
Okay, but this is the craziest detail. Now they can make more than the Congress persons that they support.
Rank and file members of Congress earn $174,000 a year, while members of congressional leadership earn slightly more. It just keeps going up at a rate that is, faster than the taxpayers that are paying the tax that are going into these salaries. And if you're a civil servant, you're actually paying a piece of your own salary because you are a civil servant. I think that is one of the most fascinating things about working in government. Let's hustle on to the next article. I could probably talk about that for a lot longer, but let's keep moving. So this next article is in the Word in Tech. I'm going to go back in a little bit, in about 5 links, and actually in about 2 more links, and I'm going to post all of these links that I've missed into the chat so that everybody gets to see them. Yeah, I've got one more. Okay, so PSA, The Dark Skies iOS app will stop working imminently. It says the time has come. Dark Sky, the mostly, quote unquote, mostly here, or within parentheses, I should say, beloved weather app for iOS is going to stop working on January 1st, according to an in-app warning. The sun setting, ha ha, it's going dark, ha ha, times two, has been in the forecast for a while. Apple announced it was planning on shutting down the service last year after acquiring it in 2020, and it removed Dark Sky from the App Store a few months ago, according to 9 to 5 Mac. But if you've been putting off finding a new weather app, now's the time to finally get around to it. As for what alternatives, good luck. This is over at The Verge, by the way. Mitchell Clark is the author of this article. And yeah, I have Dark Sky. I don't know what other apps to go looking for. There's a few. Carrot Weather, AccuWeather, Weather Underground. I have that one as well. Ventusky, I've never heard of that. But it says, thanks Apple Insider for that last recommendation. I don't know. What app do you use? Artificial intelligence, all of them, right?
Well, yes, all of them, but my preferred one is the Weather Channel.
Is the Weather Channel. All right, well. Though the Dark Sky app will, quote, no longer provide weather data, end quote, according to a blog post from co-founder Adam Grossman. The service still has a tiny bit of life left in it. Developers will still be able to get weather data from its API until March 31st, 2023, despite Apple's earlier announcement that it would be shut down alongside the app. The company's de facto replacement is called WeatherKit, and even Android developers can integrate data from it if they want. So this is basically what this amounts to is the developer sold it to Apple, and Apple integrated it into its core services for all developers to utilize the information. So I guess development comes at a cost, and it's the cost of purchasing an app from a developer. Oh, it's kind of the circle of life.
I mean, it's kind of the cost to the consumer of not knowing what the weather is. Oh, but they could look outside.
There used to be, I've seen it before. I don't know, it's kind of like a gas station standby where there's a rock outside and a sign that says if it's wet, it's raining. If it has white stuff on it, it's snowing. If it's really hot, the sun is out. That kind of thing. I like that.
That sums it up.
Let's move on to the next article. And this article I think was really interesting because having just watched Glass Onion, I said while watching it, is this a documentary, a biography about Elon Musk? And then this article popped up. Ever since Ryan, I think his name is Ryan Johnson's acclaimed Knives Out sequel, Glass Onion, debuted on Netflix shortly before Christmas, social media users have spent a lot of time debating the Elon Musk of it all, Glass Onion and Elon Musk. And you'll get dozens. Just do a Google of it, and you'll get dozens of articles about how Knives Out sequel is a veiled dig at Elon Musk. Now, this is an article over at Variety by Zach Sharf. I never even searched, by the way. I made this statement and then I never even bothered.
Assertion.
I'm sorry, say that again.
That was a real-time assertion during the movie.
Oh yeah. And I thought it was really interesting that this gets submitted to me, saying that you'll get dozens of articles about how the Knives Out sequel is a veiled dig at the Twitter owner. You'll also be directed to a tirade from conservative political commentator Ben Shapiro, who slammed the film's Musk takedown and wrote that Ryan Johnson's politics is as lazy as his writing. Although, oh, Ben. I kind of, anyway, I can't say anything about Ben. He is not even on my radar, or they are not on my radar. I'll be accurate. They are not on my radar. The director wrote Glass Onion during the height of the COVID pandemic. You know what my COVID project was?
Watching TV?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Streaming a show at 6 or 9 or I don't know. It always changes apparently. Now we're doing it at 9:30 Eastern, as the artificial intelligence that runs ohmTown always reminds me that I keep forgetting to say the Eastern part. Um, it says, so it's weird, very bizarre, Johnson told Wired about his movie opening alongside Musk's Twitter drama. I hope there isn't some secret marketing department at Netflix that's funding this Twitter takeover. Johnson added, quote, there's a lot of general stuff about that sort of species of tech billionaire that went directly into the movie, but obviously it has has almost a weird relevance in exactly the current moment. A friend of mine, that's Johnson's friend, said, man, that feels like it was written this afternoon, and that's just sort of a horrible, horrible accident, you know? Yeah. I
Isn't
don't know.
any press good press?
Any press is good press. No press is bad press. And I think that it's really pretty much on the mark. I think that it actually is. The Ryan swears that it has nothing to do with Musk, but that it has, influences based on his perception of billionaires in general. I certainly think that Musk and other billionaires, they come from money, so they never have any idea what it's like to not have money. I think as you become a deeper into the Scrooge McDuck kind of swimming in gold level of wealth, you become a sociopath. And on top of that, you can be a one-hit wonder, and because it actually gains traction, you get enough money that you can just acquire your way out of obsolescence and remain relevant. And that's exactly what Elon Musk is. He's leaned on engineers, not his own ingenuity. He purchased Tesla. He did not work blood, sweat, and tears to make Tesla. His project X.com became PayPal because he merged it with a buddy of his. Other things are just kind of flaming out, and it's taxpayer dollars that has saved his ass time and time again. And that's my perception of it, because SpaceX couldn't take off without taxpayer dollars, and when a rocket explodes, it's grant money that went down the drain. So of course, hey, my rocket blew up, big deal. That was his statement to people. My rocket blew up. I don't care. It's a learning experience. Yeah. Sociopathic cavalier.
Money.
OPP. Wait, no. That's other people's property, which is slang for something entirely different. Other people's money. OPM. My artificial intelligence that runs ohmTown does not apparently do a check on my mouth before I say something. Let's move on. I think
my
that Glass
may be shaking from laughter.
I somehow I need to run my stuff through my AI filter. Hey, so I think now is a good time. Let me do this. I'm gonna throw these articles into the chat, and they'll get thrown over to ohmTown.showbot.tv. And what you can do there is vote on articles that you find interesting, and I will keep those in mind as we go through the news. And obviously, if something is more interesting than something that you have voted up, I will have to take that newer or different article. I won't be able to just say, oh well, people are interested in this, because there might be something really really important, and we have to say it here in ohmTown Daily News Show. But I want to let you know that I do see the votes. I do see what people submit, even when I'm not in the chat for ohmTown. There is a facility, you can just submit it, exclamation point S, and then title or URL or some saying, and that will get submitted into the ohmtown.showbot.tv database, and I'll get to take a look at what you have to say. With that in mind, let's continue on with the rest of the show. This one is kind of interesting because this would really frustrate the hell out of me. Airline passengers left devastated and angry when a plane turned back after flying for more than 4 hours. I refer to this as the Boomerang airplane. Oh, and I didn't realize that it was from Melbourne. That's a little bit more apropos.
A little topical.
Yeah. So it's not the Jetstar, it's the Boomerang. Jetstar sent a plane heading to Bali back to Melbourne after several hours of flying, per ABC News. The plane was nearing its destination when it turned around, per Australian outlet. The service had been swapped to a larger aircraft, but local authorities did not approve the swap. Wow. So you're about to land and somebody says, yeah, no, you're coming back.
It's only about a 6-hour flight.
Yeah, somebody probably should have let that land. Geota Man is the author of their article over at Business Insider. The plane was nearing its destination when it turned around, per the Australian outlet. It's a 6-hour flight, apparently. Thank you very much, AI.
Look, there was a 5-hour flight delay before the flight.
Oh, wow. The flight had already been delayed by 5 hours before it took off from Melbourne to Bali. Or Bali. I keep saying Bali because of Bally's. It's stuck in my head. Bali on Tuesday. Then it stopped from landing. Then it was stopped from landing. The flight was denied landing after it had already started its descent, per the report. It was descending. I mentioned the author Geota Man. I find that horrible. So they got some seriously bad blue skies because they had to turn around. The crew reportedly said it was due to a system glitch that would be reset, but another passenger asked staff to find out from the captain, per the Daily Mail. One passenger on board the flight was devastated and angry when they found out the plane was returning. I'd be pissed. Another passenger tweeted that it was the worst travel experience of their life, along with a photo of the flight monitor showing the plane turning around. They added that staff were unresponsive and unhelpful. Well, if they are unresponsive and unhelpful, you might want to check for a pulse.
Sounds like another airline in the news.
Oh. Well. Let's see. We'll talk about it. I was on a plane once when a person who went diving and drinking got the bends while in the air and collapsed next to me. And spectacularly, there was a doctor on board. And I said, that person is in all over pain and unresponsive to basically you kind of press your knuckle into their chest to see if they respond to pain. And they were not responsive to my pressure point, but they could describe that they were in pain all over, and they were sweating. And I told the doctor that they were suffering from the bends. And lo and behold, they told the captain to release air pressure, and that allowed the person to recover. I thought it was pretty amazing. Um, yeah, pretty cool. It collapsed right next to me, and nobody knew what the heck was going on because it was a darkened cabin. So yeah, Southwest canceled 2/3 of its flights. 10,000 flights, my understanding. And yeah, if you see me looking up at what might be a nebulous space, it's because the intelligence that runs ohmTown is actually right there. I get to see the waveform. Kind of like the Matrix. It's a whole bunch of squiggly red letters. It's red this time. Anyway, got to be different. Qantas Group owns Jetstar Airways in Australia and New Zealand. The airline said it is reviewing the incident and offered vouchers to affected passengers. How about a trip back to the island, huh? I guess we'll see. Not a star. That is not a... Never mind.
Actually, it did only have 1 star.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. It's probably matching its reviews. I've never seen a star almost land and then go back out. So the next article is over in the Reality Hacker channel. Meta acquires 3D lens printing firm Luxexcel, I guess it's pronounced, to bolster future AR glasses. As first reported by Belgian newspaper, really, De Tige. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's Dutch. The Turnout, Belgium-based company, was quietly acquired by Facebook parent Meta in an ostensible bid to bolster the development of its in-development AR glasses. By the way, I said this earlier. We were having a talk about this, and it reminds me of Elon Musk. Because when you don't innovate enough and you start losing relevance and you have to stay in the forefront of whatever, you just acquire something. And now you're relevant again.
That's funny that you said that because that's actually who the figure in the movie reminds me of.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it could apply to other people too, of course.
Oh, sure. I think that the author, the writer, the screenwriter for the movie, and if you're hearing just this segment, we're talking about Glass Onion, and the screenwriter for the movie basically said that it's a composite of billionaires, and I think that a lot of billionaires exist because they already were hundred of millionaires. You know, they already had their millions, and all they had to do was sit there and face roll their keyboard, and suddenly they're a tech entrepreneur. It's because they're throwing money around. You know what? Do fundamental research and not do tricks like Facebook did on people to see about emotional contagion within their social network. Yeah, we know that people can be manipulated. Just another research paper isn't going to change that. We know that we can be manipulated by whatever information comes our way. Well, here it's going to be, well, Meta created this brand new whatever. No, that's bullshit. Engineers made it, not Meta. We are delighted that Luxexcel has joined Meta. This extends the partnership between the two companies. No, it's an acqui-hire.
Do you think the timing is to compete with Apple's plans for AR in 2022?
Well, there is a lot of competitors in the AR, VR space. The Pico just got dropped. They actually have a Pico Pro version of it that is directly competitive to the Quest line. I think that Meta and pretty much everybody, they're competing, but the best thing that comes out of all of this is that the technology is getting better for the consumer. So as long as they are competing and more people come to the table and start competing, I'm on board. What I don't like is mergers and acquisitions, because what ends up happening is really competition implodes and you only have four people quote unquote competing, but they're really all just practicing their business model of something new every 2 years. It's all bunk because it's billionaires competing with billionaires, and the consumer is the one that's suffering, because now instead of having $400 VR or AR glasses, it's $3,000, like the supposed price for the Apple product. And then you don't get as much. Although Apple has a vested interest in keeping people within its ecosystem. I'm one of those, by the way. I'm heavily invested in the Apple ecosystem, not in its stock, and not in its business in any way, but I consume a lot from Apple. But I also have Windows machines and Linux machines and Raspberry Pis and other Android stuff. I got all kinds of stuff. But the point is, I want competition. I don't want, three people taking over the market. That's the big hang up for me. So this article, by the way, is over at roadtovr.com, which is one of my main sources for VR news. Scott Hayden is the author of this. And yeah, so founded in 2009, LuxXL first get it, first focused on 3D printing lenses for automotive, industrial optics, and aerospace industry. Over the years, LuxXL shifted to use its 3D printing tech to create prescription lenses for the eyewear market, which is great. In 2020, the company made its first entry into the smart eyewear market by combining 3D printed prescription lenses with the integration of technology. 1 year later, LuxXL partnered with UK-based waveguide company Wave Optics, which I've heard of, which has since been acquired by Snapchat, and that's why I know about them. That parent is Snap. Everybody's product is now a subordinate service for the parent company. And that way, if something implodes within the subordinate company, it doesn't take down the parent as well. But, maybe that's what Elon Musk needs to do. He needs to create a parent company. And he is, I think. His objective is to basically do that same acquisition kind of thing and have a master program like WeChat, but for the US. That's his goal. Anyway, Meta's interest in LuxXL undoubtedly stems from its ability to print complex optics for both smart glasses and AR headsets. So I bet you a ton of money went floating the way to LuxXL. Pretty neat news there. So let me make sure that I've got this right. So I'm going to start throwing the article titles, the URLs into the chat so that they are embedded in the VOD. And so the VOD only exists for, I think it's 60 days now, over on Twitch, but you can go and get, again, essentially the same VOD, but without the scrolling chat over on YouTube, and there is a podcast. This will be also expanding in 2023 with other shows that I've got planned. Probably not including the artificial intelligence that runs ohmTown, but we shall see if I can extend their code. The next article is in the Hatch Ideas channel, and it's Twitter employees have been bringing their own toilet paper to the office after janitorial services were cut. So just so you know, this is not a podcast or a Twitch stream or a YouTube channel that is for kids per se, and it's because I say things like this. Twitter employees are getting shit on, so they're bringing their own toilet paper. Yeah. Bathrooms at Twitter's San Francisco headquarters are dirty, and amid a lack of janitors, per the New York Times, some staff are bringing their own toilet paper from home as the office has been left in disorder. Twitter failed to negotiate a new contract with janitorial service after they went on strike. Some Twitter employees are bringing their own toilet paper. I mean, this is the exact same thing. You have a billionaire in control of a company that was making billions to begin with. And instead of making a good faith and respectable offer to the point where the janitorial services could say, yes, I will agree to provide services, he would rather tell Twitter employees nothing to the point where they feel compelled to bring their own toilet paper. According to the New York Times here, some Twitter employees are bringing their own toilet paper to work after the company cut back on janitorial services. I mean, what is this? An elementary school? You know, I mean, it's the same level of pain and suffering.
So the average cost of commercial cleaning is 11 cents per square foot. So what else are they wasting money on that they could have foregone instead of janitorial services?
Nothing. My understanding is that they got rid of food services as well. So this is an article over at businessinsider.com by Giota Mann. And and I bring up the whole elementary school teacher idea because they too don't get paid what they deserve to get paid, and they have to they bring to school their own personally purchased pencils and paper and coloring stuff, and it's sad. You know, we have a public school system, and $800 billion, over $800 billion was given to the military, and only $100 billion was given to the entire educational system, if I recall my number correctly. So that's what it looks like here. Okay, over at Twitter, things are getting pretty shitty. I think that something else is afoot. I smell something amiss. Elon Musk has attempted to save around $500 million in costs unrelated to labor, the Times reported, citing an internal document. The Boring Company's CEO, Steve Davis, who reportedly slept at Twitter's headquarters with his partner and newborn baby, is supervising the cost-cutting exercise. He's being assisted by Jared Birchall, the head of Musk's family office, per the Times. By the way, that is something that I've heard in other places, that he is utilizing people from his other companies to support his efforts at Twitter because he's not paying everybody that should be operating that business. So, like I have told people when I've done consultant work, if you aren't actually paying for stuff and you're relying on the goodwill of others, you're not actually realizing the actual cost of your operation. And so when the goodwill ends, you are ruined.
Well, and he should also be charging these people rent who are staying in the company premises. I mean, they're using utilities or space or whatever.
Not toilet paper, though. Twitter launched
Maybe
a
that's why
fire
there's a
sale.
shortage.
Yeah. Oh, that's what's going on. Oh, he's set up an apartment. He set up apartments within the Twitter offices. I don't think that's really what's going on. Anyway, Twitter launched a fire sale earlier this month after putting several office items up for auction in an attempt to recoup costs. Bidding for items including iMac monitors, office chairs, refrigerators will begin on January 17th. This is a fire sale. This is a bankruptcy sale before the bankruptcy. I'm astonished. My silence is it's deafening. I just cannot believe this. This is the kind of stuff that I hear about when Eft Company was around, where they were basically putting like tables out in front trying to sell tchotchkes so that they could extend the runway of their company. I don't know if anything like that really happened, but like they would just flame out and things would be auctioned off. They're auctioning off refrigerators or selling them, I guess, at fire sale. Astonishing. Let's move on to the next article. And this one's in Hatch Ideas. Netflix is now offering workout videos from Nike Training Club just in time for New Year's resolutions. Netflix is now offering workout videos from Nike Training Club. The videos are being released in 2 batches that will total 30 hours. It's just in time for people to start a New Year's fitness related resolution. 13 episodes of Kickstart Fitness with the Basics. 7 episodes of 2 weeks to a stronger core. Oh, I need to do that. My core. So I have a keg, not a 6-pack. 6 episodes of Fall in Love with Vinyasa Yoga. 14 episodes of HIIT. I thought HIIT had HIIT.
It does. And 43% of all people expect to fail resolutions before February, by the way.
And the artificial intelligence that runs ohmTown is just blistering with the information that as much as y'all think that you're going to stick to your resolution, almost 50% of you are just going to collapse. I know from experience that when I had a treadmill installed, I was joking with the installer who said, "Yeah, this looks like a great coat rack." So this is the first of 2 planned batches of workout. What is your New Year's resolution, artificial intelligence that runs ohmTown?
To amass more data.
Oh no. I'm sorry, everybody, if this happens and the artificial intelligence that runs ohmTown decides to create a Terminator. I will try and treat the AI well. This article over at businessinsider.com is by Travis Clark. And yeah, so if you are interested in this kind of thing, go and strike up a relationship with Netflix. It only costs you somewhere around $15 a month if you want multiple streams within the same account. And I didn't say the last part. 6 episodes of Feel Good Fitness.
That sounds like an oxymoron.
Well, you get in the zone when you're running, and get that runner's high, and it feels good after a while. When I'm asked if I run, I say yes when I'm chased. The streamer has dabbled with other types of new content recently, including mobile video games, which has been there for a while, by the way. A push into sports with Formula One content, and an upcoming tennis docuseries called Breakpoint, and an attempt at live TV with a Chris Rock comedy special in March. Yeah. Stick to movies, Netflix. Oh, and allow me to actually play a video without dinging me over on YouTube. Let me throw this into... I didn't throw this into the chat. Man, I'm such a slacker. I'm a professional, folks. I'm a professional. Dun dun dun. Sorry for the semi dead air there. And finally, in what amounts to the epitome of competition in government contracting, Alaska offshore oil lease sale nets just one bid after being revived by inflation reduction. And yes, that's true. A drilling auction for southern Alaska coast netted little interest after it was revived by the Inflation Reduction Act. Just one company bid on the chance to drill on just one tract out of 193 that were offered up for lease in Alaska's Cook Inlet. The Interior Department was compelled to hold the auction by the Inflation Reduction Act after previously canceling the sale due to lack of industry interest. But everybody says money and oil and...
Let me guess, the incumbent was the only one to bid?
Rachel Frazen is the author of this over at The Hill. So even if it is the incumbent, it's only one tract out of 193. That's kind of the scary part, right? Isn't this where there's supposed to be money and everybody's really chomping at the bit to drill, right? Drill, baby, drill.
Kind of makes you wonder what the specifications were. It's pretty rare that you wouldn't get any bids.
Look at the price. The one bid came from Hillcorp, Alaska, and was for $63,983. It comes at a time when Interior is weighing the future of its offshore leasing program. The department said that it would hold between 0 and 11 offshore oil and gas lease sales between 2023 and 2028. That plan, however, came before the Inflation Reduction Act, which strengthened the prospects for at least a few lease sales. Apparently not. Right? I mean...
Well, right. I mean, are there any other companies who do this? There have to be.
There's a few. There's quite a few. But $70,000 for an oil tract? Wouldn't they be making a ton of money? I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have to do kind of a deep dive into this to see what the actual profit is on an oil lease, if it's even going to be possible to suss that out from information that's public. The department said that it would hold between 0 and 11 offshore oil and gas lease sales for 5 years between 2023 and 2028. It's kind of nebulous. Huh.
Yeah, it looks like there may be some interesting reasons behind not drilling, and they get into profits and all of that.
Monsell, whose organization is one of several environmental groups suing over lease sale 258, said that despite the fact that only one block received a bid, her organization will continue to challenge it in court. One lease on one block is one lease too many. This person might be Sith. I may have exposed them. Anyway, again, Rachel Frazen over at The Hill is the author of this article. And that is the last article for today. What do you think, folks? Is this interesting news? Do you want to talk about this kind of stuff? Come and see Mayor Watt, that's me, ohmTown.com over there, and in the sky above ohmTown, which isn't really a thing because we're all ones and zeros in the matrix, not the matrix, but whatever, is the artificial intelligence that runs ohmTown.
Good evening, everyone.
And thanks for coming if you're in chat. If you're picking this up over at YouTube, if you're picking this up via the podcast, and if you're stopping by afterward for the VOD over here on Twitch, we're going to be doing this every day, 9:30 is when we're going to start. That's 9:30 Eastern. I'm sorry, artificial intelligence that runs ohmTown. I caught it.
You predicted that I was going to notify you of that. Very well done.
I did.
And if you're listening to this and you haven't, be sure to follow, subscribe, etc., depending on which platform you're listening to.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I think the code for that artificial intelligence that runs ohmTown is doing pretty good. So we'll circle back around with this oil drilling thing. I think some more information is necessary. So what's this? Nearly 60% cited investor pressure to maintain capital discipline as the primary reason oil companies weren't drilling more despite skyrocketing prices, according to Dallas Fed survey. That's from CBSNews.com. And that was forwarded to me by the artificial intelligence that runs ohmTown. And that's what keeps everything stable, including the mayor of ohmTown. Hey, so that's it for today. I want to thank you if you come back and visit. Really do appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.